Welcome to another episode of Discover St. Cloud, Florida. I'm Kristin Macari, and I'm here with your host,
Jeanine Corcoran, broker for Corcoran Connect, a real estate company.
And it's time for our market report.
Again, it comes so quick.
It does. And so we're going to be talking about what happened in February of 2023 in the greater St. Cloud area. And so we can kick it off with 34769.
34769. Okay, so 34769, we had a total of 20 properties that sold, single family homes. And of that 20, 19 of them were single stories at $222 price per square foot, and the two-story was $192 price per square foot. The average overall was $220.56. But
okay, and so for that price per square foot, the average overall month over month, it's down about 5.16% from January. So January was at $232.57. We're at $220.56, and year over year, you're still up almost 8%.
Oh, that's good news.
So over February of 2022, you're still up another 8%. So that's really good. Your days to contract were about 25 days to contract. This was actually funny enough. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's actually the shortest amount of time. It was the more normal time frame for this. It was 25 days to contract and 53 days to close. Oh. So it was nice, healthy.
And for those who don't remember, explain real quick what days to contract versus days to close.
Yep. So days to contract are basically the days that your house sits active on the market before going under contract. And if you have multiple contracts, it kind of adds those days up for you. And then your days to close are from when you list to when you close. Okay. And these are the median. We take the median for this number. It's just a better representation in case there happens to be some crazy outlier that was ridiculously overpriced or whatever. And so what do we got going on in 34771?
Well, 34771, of course, is our busiest zip code, and we had a total of 40 homes that sold, and it was quite even, 2020, meaning that 21 stories sold at $222.36 price per square foot, and 22 stories sold at $190.27 price per square foot. So a total, an average of $206.32.
And for that average there, your month over month averages are down 6.11%. It was at $219.74 last month. And this month it's down to 206. But year over year, you're still up 2%. Year over year, it was 202.43 in February of 2022. Your days to contract for this number in 34777 and all of our zip codes, but in 34771, it's probably the most apparent. We actually use the median days to contract and days to close for resale homes.
Right. Not
any new
builds.
Construction, because we take those out because a lot of times those numbers like throw it off. Yeah. It's like negative 243 days. And it's that's not right.
Well, they put it in.
Yeah, exactly. They put it in after it closes, but then the contract date's before that. So it's crazy. Anyway, so your days to contract are 66 and days to close is 94. So you're looking at just about 2 months to get a contract and a total of 3 months to finally close.
Makes sense.
In the 34771 area for ours resales.
And then we have 34772, where 42 homes have sold. Of that, 35 of them were single stories and 7 of them were 2 stories. On the single stories, they're $218 price per square foot. 2 stories, $174.27 with an average of $210.71.
Yep. And so for that average there, you're down 3.78% month over month. So last month in January of 2023, it was $218.99. We're down to $210.71. And then year over year, you're still up 5%. So it was $200.96 to $210.71. And then in 34772, your days to contract are 72 and your days to close is 112. Oh, wow. So a little bit longer again, just kind of like, I think preparing for, we're in a healthier market, like a more normal market. So things are going to sit a little bit longer. People have more to choose from.
Then we have February for 34773, and then we have 11 homes that sold. So this is usually the quieter zip code. Of that, 8 of them were single stories, 3 of them were 2 stories. Single story, $223.96 price per square foot. 2 stories, $181.64. Average $212.42.
And for that, your month over month values down about 4% from January of 2023. It was $221.26. Now we're down to $212.42. And then year over year, we're still up almost 14%.
That's crazy.
So that's like a still like, I just understand that we're still like in a really crazy in terms of equity gained. It was 186.55 last year in February, and now it's 212.42. Days to contract were 33, and days to close were 51. And again, I think it's worth noting too, these are all single family homes. Like the Harmony does have townhomes and condos.
Right.
Those are not included in these numbers. But so that's just some good metrics to watch.
And then we have vacant land, and we only had 7 parcels that sold. And it looks like the highest one was in Kenansville at 200,000. That was a 5-acre parcel.
That's awesome. I mean, I feel like we're running out of land.
Yeah, we're running out of land, folks.
There's not much left in Osceola County unless you go down Kenansville.
There is, and I forgot this one. I'm sorry. I'm looking at. So there was a parcel on 17th Street for $600,000, and they pay cash.
Yeah, and it was just under an acre too, wasn't it?
Yeah, just under an acre,
which is crazy. So that price per acre is like that. Kenansville property seems high value for price per acre.
Absolutely.
Maybe that's where I need to go find land. That's awesome. And then last but not least, we'll check out Harmony. So what went on in Harmony?
So if you can believe it, there were only, in our Harmony, Maine, were only 2 properties that sold. One was a single story, one was a 2-story. The single story was right on Brackenfern, and that came in at $171.39 a square foot. That was a 2-story. And then there was one in the Lakes that actually Chris sold at $194.98. That was in 55 and older.
Wow.
But Harmony West, we had a total of 9, and in Harmony West, the single stories was 6 of them at $223.38, and then of the 2 stories, it was $186.03.
That's awesome. And, just one thought that we kind of were talking about right before we started this was, our 55 and over communities. It seems like when there's any kind of shift in the market, they're the ones that are the most cautious. Is that kind of what you see? Like how are the 55 and over homes moving right now? So everything
we're seeing, we have, here in Harmony at the Lakes, and then we also have up in Lake Nona, and it's very, very slow. Typically you're 55 and older, the snowbirds come down December, January, February, and it was just a slow sneeze. And I think they're just very cautious because they're the first people that holding on to their money. If there's a change in the market or interest rates, they're just very cautious.
Yep. It is a very cautious time for them. And we kind of cursory looked like at 55 and over around, and it seems like a lot of things are sitting on the market a little bit longer.
Yep. Pull all 3 counties, Polk.
Yep. Polk, Osceola, and Lake. And so that's just something to keep in mind if you are in a 55 and older, even though our average days to contract, days to close might be a certain number. Just know that, it might take a little bit longer just because of the demographic that you're in with the 55 and older, being more cautious with their funds.
It's almost like 2 markets.
It really is.
Yeah, if we have regular market, this market, and then you have the condo market.
Right. Yep.
But
absolutely. Well, that's good. So all in all, I think we're kind of, I want to say like holding steady. Like when the numbers for year over year are getting, closer, you're still having some, some gains. We're not, we talk about a 4% drop or whatever. It's not anything crazy. It's not anything drastic. The bomb's not falling out of the market, whatever. I just think it's kind of like leveling out. And you also have to think that these numbers too are comparing like, in the winter months where
so true.
Where the beginning of 2022 was still busy. In the winter month until, we didn't really see a shift in the market until, summertime.
Yeah, June.
So it'll be great to see how that pans out over the next, couple of months and see what goes on.
Yeah,
but
keep watching it.
It seems like the interest rates kind of settled a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But anyway, thanks so much for joining us for this, another episode of your Discover St. Cloud. Okay, let me try that again. I don't even know where I am. But thanks so much for joining us for another episode of Discover St. Cloud, Florida. Remember, we're on every other week now, bringing you what you want to hear, which is our Harmony, our market reports and our events. Yep, you can find us on all your favorite podcast platforms. You can also give us a call at
1-844 St. Cloud. That's STCLOUD.
You can also find us online.
That's like my cue.
Yep.
Also find us online. Yes, you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. You could even look on YouTube.
Yeah, you can see our faces and how we look at each other. That's great. So thanks again for joining. We'll see you in another episode.